Respected our patron of this webinar, Dr. M.L. Mahar, Principal Dr. Kirti Bala Burma, and main convener of this webinar of Dr. Aruna Sharma, and Srimati Basanti Sant, Organizing Secretary of the webinar, Professor K.T.S. Rao, and distinguished participants and delegates of this webinar. It is indeed a great matter of pleasure for me to get associated with this HICT webinar on the impact of teachings of the Buddha on world peace. So as we know that we are going to discuss all the teachings of the Buddha, what are the impact of the teachings of the Buddha in our present society. And we are also going to discuss that what Professor Sarao has discussed in a very brief manner. So as we know that Buddhism is a psycho-ethical thought and practice which takes a wing from the state of suffering to the state of eternal bliss. And there are two aspects of teachings of the Buddha that encourage the development of our scientific thinking and critical thinking also. First, it was the rationality of the mind, which encouraged that don't accept the anything which is coming from the tradition or parampara, but rather you are accepting the things from the custom or traditions which is coming from our past. So this is the rationality of the mind that which encouraged our critical thinking or scientific thinking. And Buddhism is also known as a very teachings of the Buddha, which encourage the scientific thinking that you do not accept any things, but accept the things after investigating properly whether it is coming in Sutta, Vinaya, or Abhidhamma. Again, the second aspect was emphasis on the causality in Buddhism. So this is the second aspect that, as we know, that everything is dependent on some cause and conditions, and this is the law of interdependence. So this is the overall education of the teachings of the Buddha, or the whole essence of the teachings of the Buddha are lies with the law of dependent origination or law of interdependence. And we know that Buddhism was more open and it was less ritualized also than Buddhism. And as we know that the teachings of the Buddha that was mainly meant for the growth of the personality of a human being. And even the Buddhist educations also gave more or much emphasis on the development of the character building as well as the development of the personality. So in that way, Buddha was given a very, you can say, excellent example of how the character development or personality development can be given. And in the last of the Mahapadbana Sutta of the Buddha, which was the last discourse given by the Buddha, so if you see that there are a number of teachers which came into existence in our monastic order. So here Buddhist, the whole teachings of the Buddha can be divided into two aspects, that is the Pariyatti and Patipatti. Pariyatti is the teachings of the Buddha which is available in the scriptures, mainly Sutta, Vinaya and Abhidhamma, and that can be acquired only after going through the scriptures available in Tipitaka. The experimental knowledge is called as patipatti, that is, the experimental can be achieved only through the meditational practices, or namely dhutangas or jhanangas or something like that. So this practical knowledge or meditational practices can be achieved only through the aspect of the meditational practices and other whatever they have been given for the kamathan or subjects of meditations also. So Buddhism, like other studies of modern sciences, gave much, you can say, emphasis on the theoretical as well as a practical aspect of the understanding as well as the knowledge. At the same time, what we are having in our logic and epistemologic. So if you go through there is a Nalanda tradition of Buddhism where acharyas have given much strength on the logic, reasoning, and critical thinking also. We are having 17 lineage of the teachers who propagated Mahayana or other thoughts, and they disseminated the teachings of the Buddha to different parts of the world, especially in Tibet, China, Taiwan, and other countries. So these are the main our scriptures available in the Pragya Parvita Sutra, especially in the Pramana Shastra, available in the text of Praman Vartik, Praman Samuchay, Dinnag, and Dharmakirti are main acharyas of these our thought of the Praman Shastra or logic or reasoning. Again, as we know that Buddha believes in the all the, you can say, teachings. If you think over it, then there are two aspects what we have discussed earlier. That is the rationality of the mind, and second aspect is the causality of mind. And here, causality of the Buddhism is mainly dependent of law of dependent originations. That all things are subject to cause and effect also. There is no anything which comes into existence without having any cause and effect. And that is why it is said in Majjhim Nikaya that imasmim sati idam hoti, imasmim asati idam na hoti, imas upada idam upajjati, imas nirodha idam nirujjati. So all law of dependent originations, that is the causality of Buddhism, is mainly dependent on the kammic law, that is the law of the actions. Buddha also says that the volition is the main source of our actions. That is why Buddha says that Chetanaham Bhikkhave Kammam Badami Chetetva Kai Kammam Vachi Kammam Manu Kammam. So all things are dependent on our actions, whether it is moral and immoral. If a person does moral actions, it is not seen that there is a resultant of the immoral actions. So if a person does the moral, he gets the resultant of the moral actions. And if a person who does immoral actions, he gets the resultant of immoral actions. But sometimes the sankharas, that is the mental dispositions, they give impact on our actions also. They, and due to effort of our sankharas, mainly punya abhisankhara, the motivations can be changed also. The resultant of the actions can be also changed. So these are the things which are mainly discussed in our teachings of the Buddha. Again, Buddha has given much importance on the righteous, that is the Dhamma, and it is another name of our morality. Morality is the curtailment of the physical and vocal misdeeds, and it is only through the righteous or morality we can say that we can shape our personality, or we can change our sankharas or motivations. Through the effort we can change our things. So here it is also said that there are two aspects of the things, that how Buddha says that the actions are the resultant of the actions can be altered also. So here there are other aspects that Buddha also gives much importance to the tolerance and the compassion. And we know that this compassion and the tolerance have been given in other religions also, that how importance have been given in other religions. But in the Mahapadipana Sutta, if you see, then we find that Buddha was very much inclusive in giving the statement related with our eightfold path. And he says that if you see that eightfold path is available in any thought, in other acharyas also, then you find that it is okay. Otherwise, if you do not find the factors of related with the eightfold path, it is not advisable to accept all these things. So these are some of the things which are given in our suttas. And we see that there are some of the things how the moral behavior or moral actions can be shaped for the development of the character building, as well as our personality development. So there are two factors for that, that is the intention and behavior. Buddha has given much importance of the importance of the intention and behavior, because this intention and behavior are shaping our career also, and through the career we can change our personality also. So, for moral guidance, Buddha has also given much importance on the development of our consciousness also. And in the later acharyas like Acharya Santidev, in Bodhicharjavatar, he has given much importance of the development of our consciousness, that is the Bodhicitta. And here Bodhicitta is nothing but there is a how you can develop your consciousness for getting a state of enlightenment. So Bodhi Chit is the seed of the enlightenment through which we can develop our compassion as well as wisdom or right understanding in the development of our purifications, that how a person can get a state of eternal bliss. So through this bodhicitta we can develop. So there are two aspects of bodhicitta. There, that is the ultimate bodhicitta and subjective bodhicitta. That is the paramartha bodhicitta and samriddhi bodhicitta. Through the Paramartha Bodhicitta, that is the ultimate Bodhicitta, a person cognizes and he comes to know that all things are subject to impermanence, all things are subject to suffering, and all dhammas are subject to soulless. Through the Samritti Bodhicitta, a person is able to aspire to get a state of enlightenment or a state of bodhi. So here there are two aspects. So there is the first aspect that through the ultimate bodhicitta, a person comes to know that all things are subject to impermanence, all things are subject to suffering, and all dhammas are subject to soulless. But through the Samritti Bodhicitta, a person is able to shape his, that how through the compassion a person is able to get a state of right understanding, that is the pragya. And through the pragya a person is able to know all these things. So here there are two aspects. Through the cognizance of all things are subject to impermanence, suffering, and subject to soulless, a person is able to having the sunyata, that is the knowledge of emptiness. And through this pragya or right understanding, a person is able to have the compassion or right understanding. So there are two aspects, and these two aspects are interdependent on each thing. And through the sunyata, a person is able to get the state of compassion as well as right understanding or pragya also. And through the pragya or right understanding and the compassion, a person is able to have the knowledge of sunyata, that is the emptiness. So Acharya Buddha Acharya Santidev in the Bodhicharya avatar, he has given that how we have to cultivate our bodhicitta for having a purification of our mind or our consciousness also, and how we can, through the development of our bodhicitta, we can shape our personality or the character. So these are and all things are dependent on our actions also. That is why in Dhammapad it is said that all Manopumangma Dhamma, that man is the forerunner of all actions. In another way, it is all said that manifestations of all actions are being governed by our mind, or through the consciousness, we are able to know the manifestations of all the actions, whether it is moral or immoral. So that is why it is called a chittam ti vichittam, that all manifestations of actions are being governed or done by our actions. So that is why, and again, all for the doing the moral and immoral actions, there is a need of our mindfulness also. And through mindfulness, a person is able to know about all these things, because until unless we are not having the mindfulness or recollections, that is the anusmriti, we cannot do all these things. So there are two aspects also, how the casual in the process of our law of interdependence, we are having that the actions and the doer are causally related also, and the actions and the result are also causally, you can say, interconnected. In the same way, these actions and the body are also causally related. Whatever we are doing, they are also causally related with our body as well as our mind also. So the effect of a dead of a person's depends upon the person's character as shaped by other deeds also. So Buddha points out sometimes that the actions which are performed by different persons can yield the different kinds of resultant also. So we have also seen that how sankharas are motivated for the changing of our resultant of our actions also. So these have been discussed that how in the other text we have seen that how chit, mainly the actions of the consciousness, they have been given more importance. And all these actions here, the main, there are three aspects mainly which have been given in the, that how secular ethics can be governed by in the present time also. Secular ethics is not only, you can say, respecting one religion, but here it is said that respecting other religions also, it has been encouraged in Buddhism. In Mahaparinibbana Sutta, there is a mention of Sat Aparihaniya Dhamma, that there are seven factors through which a person or a state cannot fall away. So out of the seven factors, there is that respecting the other chaityas or the temples, how we can give respect to other religions also, and giving respect to our parents and the elders, and whatever the things which are coming from our traditions, they must be also not discontinued, but they can be also in developed in another manner also. So some of the points which have been discussed in Satya Aparadhaniya Dhamma, they are very much useful in the present day society also. And through this, we can give impact on our bringing the world peace in our society also. So only the main thing is that how we have to develop our moral dhammas or the kusal dhammas, how we have to develop in the Milinda Payu, the much stress has been given for development of Saddha, Sati, Samadhi, Briya, and Panya. There are five factors which are required for development of the moral dhammas. If the moral dhammas are being developed, then there is a bringing of peace in the society, and how we can develop peace in our society. So this is the main thing. And there is one aspect nowadays in the present our society, that how we have to be very much aware through our teachings of the Buddha. Here, awareness has given much importance in our teachings of the Buddha also. Awareness is another name of mindfulness or recollections. So here, mindfulness is has been defined by the Buddha that sati dwariko biyati badami, that oh monks, I call awareness or mindfulness just like a doorkeeper. And door just like a doorkeeper does not allow any undesirable person to enter into the house, in the same way mindfulness or awareness does not allow any undesirable factors or the states or the dhammas to enter on the surface of mind. So mindfulness, that is why Buddha has said in Satipatthana Sutta that ekaino evam maggo sattanam visuddhiya jadidam chattaro satipatthana kayanupassana, vedananupassana, chittanupassana, and dhammanupassana. Buddha says that this mindfulness or awareness is the only path through which we can get a state of eternal bliss, visuddhi, that is the nibbana. So there are four: kayanupassana, being awareness related with our body; chittanupassana, being awareness to all 89 or 121 types of consciousness; um, Vedananupassana, that being aware of all five types of feelings, that is the Somanasa Vedana, Sukha Vedana, Domanasa Vedana, Dukha Vedana, and Upekha Vedana. And lastly, that is the Dhammanupassana, being aware of all these teachings of the Buddha related with the Four Noble Truth, Eightfold Path, Law of Dependent Originations, and other teachings which have been enshrined in our Tipitaka. So Buddha says that through the awareness or recollecting the teachings like Buddhanusmriti, Dhammanusmriti, Sanghanusmriti, Chaganusmriti, Dhammanus. So all these are essential for bringing a state of peace or serenity in the society. So through these factors, Sadha, Sati, Samadhi, Briya, and Pragya, there is no enough time. So there are these five factors are essential for bringing a state of peace or serenity in the society. So through the development of our moral dhammas, we can bring our peace and society in the society. So with these words, I would like to thank very much to the organizing committee for giving me a, an opportunity to share some of my views related with the teachings of the Buddha, the impact of teachings of the Buddha on peace, world peace. So thank you very much for patience hearing.